Do you remember last year I had a bunch of issues with my male Cape Cobra because he started nose rubbing and we weren't sure why? Well, happened again. You can kind of see over here how he's messed up his nose a bit and tried to escape. So now we are not 100% sure why and what's the cause of that. I have since taken him out, put him in this trash can for safe keepings, and now I will explain what I think the issue is. As I said, it was exactly a year ago that I had this exact same issue and we were not sure why. So I spoke to a bunch of friends trying to figure out what the reason is, and turns out changing the setup, how it looks, really helped, and then the snake started to stop nose rubbing. Stop nose rubbing. So our theory with this and changing the setup is generally younger snakes tend to move around a lot more frequently and change their spots where they like to stay because they want to avoid predation from other cobras per se. But this time around I do have another theory as to why this is happening. Personally, I think it may be because of the seasonal changes now too, as he's a male snake, and generally just before winter snakes get super active so they can find their last meal before the winter season where they won't really find anything. So he may be super active now because he's actually wanting to be fed more. So I'm going to try this out, and if changing the setup doesn't fully fix it, I will feed them extra, which hopefully will help. Okay, I changed it up, so let's see how he enjoys it now, and hopefully he won't start to mess up his nose again. Luckily we caught it before anything too bad happened, but yeah, I don't like him rubbing his nose, and hopefully this will fix that. I'll keep you guys posted though. Now there is a lot going on in the reptile room over here, so I'm busy working on a bunch of new cages just like this, and they're gonna go in this spot over here. So I need to move this table with my leopard gecko underneath there. I need to move it out and make space because there's a whole nother unit that's gonna take up the space over here. I've been working on some polystyrene foam backgrounds and foam hides that I'll probably concrete and make it look really good. Okay, so I also need to clean up Beth's enclosure over here before she goes into brumation. She has 1 or 2 meals left until I put her away for the winter and cool her down enough so she can breed and produce some nice little black Runkos babies. Honestly, those are some of my favorite snakes right there. Runkos, they're just the cutest puppy dog snakes, literally. If you work with them, you'll understand what I'm saying. How can you not fall in love with that? I mean, that's one of the cutest faces you'll ever see. Now, don't get me wrong, it'll be much cooler if the camera was able to focus on that, but it's not, so whatever. Let's get rid of all of this and clean it up nicely. I have no idea where I'm gonna put my leopard gecko, which is under there. You can see there, my leopard gecko's in that enclosure there. It's a nice setup, but where am I going to put it? Because I've got a whole rack of new cages coming here that I'm going to build tomorrow. So what's going to happen? So kind of making a bit of progress over here. That whole section's cleared out now. I moved the gecko into the other room, made the plan and made space. Now I've got a bunch of stuff over here that is ready for the tanks that are gonna come, like the substrate and all of that, because I'm gonna make nice living enclosures. I just moved stuff there, like why? What the heck are you doing, Bryce? The cages are supposed to go there. Well, yeah, this is gonna move out. It's just my storage drawers that used to be a snake rack. I built that with my dad like 10 years ago, so it's kind of sentimental, so I gotta find another place to put it, but I'm excited to show you guys what's gonna happen. And yeah, tomorrow's going to be a busy day building cages. And guess what? It's time to feed all of the snakes. Well, not all of them. This will be most of them's last meal just before winter, like Beth over here, because I'm going to cool her down and try to breed her. So I'm going to give her a nice meal just before winter and then let that digest fully. So give it about 3 weeks or so before I cool her down, just so there's no food in her gut when I cool her down and then it starts to rot in her gut. But let's feed her. Okay, come up close with Beth over here. She's gonna come shoot out. Oh, you taste it. Ooh. Ooh, there we go. What a gentle lady she is. Yellow belly, my guy. Come, boy. Ooh. There we go. Almost thought I would have to catch you, my boy. How precious is he? I love the wild looking ball pythons. Even though you get some really cool morphs, the natural color phase is amazing, even though he is a yellow belly, so he's a bit different, but he kind of looks like a normal. So, as it goes replicating the natural environment for your animals, it's autumn now and I want to replicate that in my enclosures. So what I'm doing is I'm going out collecting a bunch of leaves. I would not say this is like an essential part of keeping your animals happy and healthy, but I think it's a cool part that you can incorporate, especially for the animals that come from areas where the climate does change. I mean, in Africa here, we don't really get annual leaves falling because most of the indigenous plants keep their leaves throughout the year because Africa is hot, it's amazing, it's the best. Now this is the part that you don't tell mom. Just hopefully she can't hear me in the other room over there. Super. For now, what you're going to do is boil it up so the leaves can get rid of all the pathogens and stuff like that, so it's nice and safe for your animals just in case there's anything weird going on there. Then once the leaves have boiled, you go and just chuck it out onto your DIY drying rack and then spread it out a bit so they can, ooh, that's nice and warm. Actually quite hot. I've got these two LED light fixtures from the last reptile room that I kind of want to fixture to the floor over here so it can shine over onto the snakes when I take snakes out for displays, and then you'll be able to see them a lot better because this dark floor over here doesn't really help showing the snakes off on camera. And now for my favorite part, wiring cages. I love this. Not really. It's not that fun wiring. I'm not the biggest fan, but you gotta do it when you work with a bunch of reptiles and camera gear. Now that definitely looks kind of trippy. You can see this LED bar has like a few dead patches, but that's okay. That looks pretty cool, and I'm not gonna lie about that. In the beginning of this video, you saw me unbox a bunch of feeders for my geckos, but I also got these guys. These are red wriggler worms and they are going to act as feeders, but not only that, I'm going to use the worm castings, as you can see on the side here, all this nice stuff, as fertilizer for my enclosures so they can grow some really nice plants and they can thrive.